Yes, yes, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. It's Russ on the West End Network. Hope you're all safe and well. Quite like these morning musings, sort of my little rant in the morning. Sitting at my desk, 7:30 in the morning, and I've been watching loads of, reading lots of social media, YouTube, TikTok, all that type of stuff about Graham Potter, and a lot of negativity about him already. I'm like, fucking hell, do you know what I mean? Now, the reason why I'm doing this is to get my point across, but also if you are already not negative, but already made your mind up in terms of it's not the right appointment, I'd love to find out in the comments why, because I personally can't fathom why. Um, I and I keep saying it to a blooming face, when a manager comes in or head coach comes in halfway through a season, it's not usually because the team's doing fantastic. Very rarely is that the case. They're usually doing very poorly, and something needs to come in and make a difference. Arguably, looking at the way the title, the whole league, and again, that's probably another rant about the Premier League. We weren't really in much worry of being relegated. In all honesty, yes, the league in terms of position wise, but in terms of points wise. So the appointment of Graham Potter for me was a step change rather than as a firefighter role. Now, what Potter came into was not a fault of his own, was a fault of the previous appointment of Julian Lopetegui, and he's come into a side which, over the last 2 years, so towards the end of the Moyes tenure and in the early stages of the Lopetegui reign, was shipping 2 goals a game. And I keep making this point. Unlike maybe Moyes going into Everton, Everton weren't conceding a lot. They just weren't scoring. So that's what Moyes had to do, was actually make the side a bit more forward thinking. And to some extent he's done that. Similarly for us, there's no point going gung ho and doing a postology and scoring 3 goals but conceding 4. In my eyes, you might think differently, and that's you're entitled to your opinion. But in my opinion, Potter. The first thing he had to come in was show up the defence, and it's significantly improved. Over 50%. The stats don't lie. We're averaging 1 goal a game we're conceding rather than 2 goals a game. But yes, now you've got the emphasis of the football, of the forward thinking, scoring the goals, which I think will come. But again, he's been laden with a situation where he's had, before he started, he hasn't got the Premier League, our Premier League all-time goal scorer, because he had a car crash. In his first game, his focal point of his tactics in terms of Nicholas Füllkrug, he got injured within 30 minutes and then was out for, hopefully be back after the international break. In terms of being available, he's trading now. And then probably one of his most significant players in terms of Crescencio Somerville then goes off at half time. Never to be returned again, hopefully again, international break. Plus he's had Bowen, broke his foot. Plus he's had Paqueta injuries. He's had an inconsistent Kudus as well. So from an attacking perspective, I didn't really have much to work with, in all honesty. It's only now we're seeing everyone coming back. So now I think what's going to be interesting is, particularly over the international break, obviously a number of those players are already out with their international teams, but hopefully coming back to the Wolves game on April the 1st, which I think is hilarious, the fact we're playing a game on April Fool's Day. It's already written the headlines, isn't it, really, for whoever loses. We'll see maybe a bit more intent going forward. But for me, it's about, I can only judge, and again, he's inherited a squad which I think, in all honesty, probably about half of that, 3/4 wouldn't be the people he'd bring into the squad. And that would involve him having to, it might not take one transfer window, it could take 2 or 3 transfer windows to get the squad how he wants them. And the club clearly have said that they recognise him being a long-term appointment, in the fact that not only they got him in, but then they spent over £1 million getting Carl McCauley in, who's not even going to be, putting a foot on the pitch, but in the background. And again, that's not really like what West Ham has done traditionally. I think Potter's the right man for West Ham. I really do. I just think he talks a good game, and I think we need that as a fan base, to be honest, being able to talk a good game. Now, I've seen lots of stats about how it's the comparables between the first 11 games of our previous manager and our current head coach, and how they're quite similar, all bar the goal shots. However, the issue being is Lopetegui's setup had the whole of the summer transfer window to bring in his own men, and still couldn't produce the goods. Hence why we're bringing, we brought in Graham Potter, and I don't think that takes into account. So sometimes stats, you can read between the stats as well as using them to prove and disprove. As I said, you can always disprove anything, but for me, I'm seeing a incremental step. It's not going to be a massive step change, because I don't think it is, because I think it's impossible, because some of the squad is quite poor. So bringing in those people is going to take time and be integrated. But I can't see. I can't understand the dismissal of Potter already. I just can't. Now, it might be clickbait. It might be clickbait. It might be people, are being negative for negative's sake, and some people. But I don't think it is. I think it's people being genuine with their opinion. And obviously, everyone's entitled to their opinion. But for me, my opinion, Potter has, he's got until, I don't know, midway through next season, maybe. I think judge him when he's got some of his players in. Now, people say, what about Evan Ferguson? Evan Ferguson was only brought in my opinion, because of Nicholas Falker's injury. He would have been brought in otherwise. So it was almost as a stand-in. Now, actually, funny enough, I was talking to Bobby Zamora on Friday. We had a great ex-player night at Dagenham Redbridge, Mandeville Promotions with Len, and had a good chat with Bobby about, actually, the under 21s and Zoom. Busy man. I was busy man on Friday, and he was talking about Evan Ferguson, saying how he was the best striker at Brighton. Because obviously Bobby's a sort of a part-time forward coach there, and obviously works with the strikers. And this is Evan Ferguson is mustard. He really is, but he didn't fit into the way Fabian Husler likes to play with his sides. He has really mobile forwards who literally run and run and run. And Evan's not built like that. He's like, and as I said, I've likened him to sort of a young Johnny Hartson. And he actually mentioned Johnny Hartson as someone he can sort of comparisons to in terms of a target man, but can finish maybe a little bit more mobile than Johnny was, in all honesty, because he had he's got two knees rather than Johnny. But it's the injury. He hasn't sort of fully recovered from the injury. It made a massive impact on him. So I wouldn't even judge Potter on the signing of Evan Ferguson, because it was a loan signing as well. It was almost like we needed to get someone in. Evan's that person Potter knows well. So for me, that's a non-starter. That's a non-starter. It's not necessarily Evan's non-starter, but that debate in my eyes, because it's a loan signing. There wasn't any. It was only a signing fee. He's also come to a situation as well where he's had to pay Forest to get JWP back, which shows again mismanagement of the players under Lopetegui. We've heard from Jeffrey Medine. He did an interview for a football podcast talking how Lopetegui basically, despite the fact Jeffrey's a bloody good right back, although he played centre midfield for the 18s the other day, but bloody good right back, he got him in the first team training and put him up front. And Wan-Bissaka was like, no, you go back, I'll go forward, that type of thing. So that I don't think we can underestimate the issues the Lopetegui appointment had on the squad, on the mentality of the squad, and we're seeing now. Obviously, when we watch the training videos and stuff, players appear to be happier. I haven't heard any players coming out and criticising Potter, which they might have done via previous channels. That hasn't happened yet, so we seem to be in a slightly more happy camp at the moment. But now we just need the results to reflect that. And I think they will come. As I said, we've still got 10 games left this season, something like that. Lots of good games to play. We've still got to play Spurs, obviously got to play Wolves, still got to play Ipswich, people like that. I think we're going to pick up some points and finish the season strongly, because we need to, because we go into a massive summer, and it's going to be again, same as we said the last 3 or 4 summers. It's going to be a massive rebuild for West Ham, and it's even more so now. But I just think we just got to give him time. Just got to give him time. Unfortunately, times are proving we don't have in football, particularly with social media. It's pretty quick that the noise could come out. We're hearing now Spurs are looking at drawing up a list of managers to replace Ange Postecoglou. He was the messiah. When Spurs were riding high, he was the messiah, playing Ange. Brilliant. How quickly the tide changes. Anyway, I really want, and what I love about our sort of community, the West Ham Network community, is everyone's very respectful of each other's opinions. So if you've made your mind up on Potter already, I want to know why. And I don't want you to be vilified for saying that. Similarly, if you're pro Potter, I want to know why. And again, I don't want you vilified. I want you to have a healthy debate in the chat. If not, we'll be having words. Because that's the one thing I love about our communities. Everyone is very respectful of each other. And if you like these sort of morning rambles, these morning musings, let me know, because I can do more of them when I'm in the office. Anyway, take care, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, stay humble. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll speak to you a bit later on. Much love. Bye-bye.